My dear sisters and brothers, a few reflections. We see today in the reading, the first reading, the Israelites, the chosen people, are taken into captivity in Babylon, and they are suffering there. Why have they been in captivity? Why are they like this? Because they were not following the ways of the Lord. They had started doing their own things, given up on God, and so this is how evil worked on them. Evil attracted them away from God and hammered them out into captivity and kept them in bondage. But look at what Jesus is saying. Jesus is one who is conforming to God's will, doing what is right, and he is telling us that he is going to be suffering, he's going to be killed, and he's going to be raised. How do we reconcile these two things? Let us remember that there is a presence of good and evil. Now, good always comes from God. We have heard this. Evil comes from evil, of course. And what does it do? It takes us away from the good and hammers us. But now when we are doing good, it does the same thing. And so, there are two reasons why we may suffer. In both cases, we are suffering. But one, because we have moved away from God when the temptations come and whatever comes. The second one is we hold on to God and yet we have to suffer. But now how do we suffer? Always in union with Jesus, who is giving us life when we are suffering. And this is very, very important for us as Christians. There is a lot of suffering in this world. And there are various ways in which we interpret it. Like today we see in the life of Dominic Guzman, who also experienced that there was this suffering in the world, and when he saw one group of people called the Albigensians, they were seeing everything which is material as evil, and only the spirit is good. So in us, we have the body, we have the mind and the spirit. Now on which are we centered? If we are centered on the spirit, then we are also centered on Jesus. And if we are centered on Jesus, yes, our material nature also begin to become good. But what was this heresy saying? No, it can never be good. Why? Because they had seen how the people who were of God, as in Jesus' time, the Pharisees, and in their time in the 12th century, they saw the priests, religious, were not living a good, godly life. And that is why they reacted, saying, Jesus was not born in this human flesh. Jesus and the sacraments don't make any sense to us. Because you see how people are living, and many today might also feel that way. But it was Dominic Guzman who saw the truth, because in his life, he lived very well. He came from a well-to-do family, but he gave up everything. He was very disciplined and austere and, doing penances. Now, when the church with Innocent III sent people to convert these Albigensian people, poor as well as their preachers, they did not accept them because they were living a pompous life. So he thought that if he lives a life which is on par with them, they were very abstemious, they were living a very poor life, but very strong, chosen life like this. So then he thought of Francis of Assisi, who had given up everything and was living in poverty. But the difference was that he studied theology well, and he taught all his clerics and even those whom he won over to the right way, the truth in the religious life, he got them to work for this cause. And that is how he was able to transform the thinking of many people and bring it to the right path. The path that Jesus has shown us, that in coming in our human nature, He has transformed it, and in Jesus we have life. So what did Dominic Guzman say? Anyone who has mastery over his passion is also having mastery over the world. So let us pray for this grace. In my own life, I thank God that He gave me my family. And in the family, we grew. 2 of us of the 4 are religious. My sister, who is a cloistered Carmelite for the last 57 years. And I'm 47 years religious as a Jesuit. We are both very grateful to God for giving us a call. She in a cloistered Carmelite convent, and I being in the world and being a contemplative in the world. It's a process which is going on, and St. Ignatius has led us well. I thank God for the society because of the many things and experiences that I've gone through, the many places I've been to, and in the many communities of Jesuits I've lived with. At the moment, this is our society, the small community in which we live. Besides thanking God for all these gifts of people and persons who have come into my life and we all grow in Jesus, there are other things that are also happening. Like God is all the time showing how more and more God can work through us, and therefore we must let go of ourselves and let God take over. And when we do this, we are always trusting in Him at every step. He is the way, and He makes the way. He is the truth, and He shows us everything, and He is our life. So I thank God for all these gifts and benefits that I have received, and I pray for everyone that we all grow in this body of Jesus and become witnesses of His love, compassion, and understanding to the people around us. Let us just spend a few moments, hold our hands, close our eyes, and remain united to Jesus. At every breath, He is the life within us. He gives us everything that we need as cells of His body. So let us remain, each one of us, in communion with Him and surrender everything that He has given us and what we have acquired sometimes on our own, thinking that we know the way. Let us also surrender that, because not always what we have acquired brings life to others. And so let it not also keep us in bondage, but let us be free of it, so that internally, having that inner freedom, God can move us in our thoughts, our words, and in our actions.